Sampdoria are a proud football club with a rich footballing history. They have a loud, passionate fan base which sticks by their team through thick and thin. They enjoyed their best spell in the 90s and they won 3 trophies in 2 years, and to this day, their only Serie A triumph. Some of the most famous players to have wore the blue kit include the likes of Gianluca Vialli, Roberto Mancini, Attilio Lombardo, David Platt, yes, David Platt, and even Trevor Francis. In recent times, the club has failed to scale the heights of the 90s. Financial difficulties and the dependency on own-grown players has seen them struggle in Serie A. Can we change that? Let's look to rebuild the mighty Sampdoria. Hello everybody, welcome to the channel. Today we are going to be taking on a rebuild. We are at Sampdoria. We are going to look to restore this glorious Italian football club back to its glory days of the 90s. You might have heard me say in the little intro there, their most successful spell in football was probably in the 1990s. They also won a few cups in the 80s. Let's have a look around this wonderful club then. Starting off with the club info page, let's show you what they have won. In terms of trophies, they have quite a rich history in Italian football for winning cups. You can see here that they have won Serie A once. That success came in 1991. They won the European Cup Winners' Cup the year before that in 1990, so a successful spell there in the couple of years. They also won the Coppa Italia in 1985, 1988, defending it in 1989, and they won it in 1994. They won Serie B in 1967, and they won the Supercoppa Italiana in 1991. So you can see that that's 3 trophies there, 1990, 1991. They also won the Coppa Italia in 1994, so they did have quite a successful period in that 1990s early window, just as Italian football in this country, in England, should I say, was just taking off. We had the Gazzetta and we had Channel 4 getting some great footage. And I remember the early days of those Italian games being shown and broadcast in the UK on Channel 4. Players, as I mentioned, like Vialli, they had Mancini, they had David Platt went out there, which was a bit of a strange move into left field, but he seemed to have made a success for himself because he was there for the successes of Sampdoria. Let's have a little look then back at the club info. So we have joined as manager. They start off with a 4.5-star training facility, so a decent training facility, although 3-star youth facilities aren't the best. Junior coaching is 1.5 stars, and youth recruitment is 1.5 stars too, so something probably to be built upon there. Not too sure if we're going to touch too much on wanting to develop those in this save, but it's something that if it comes along, I suppose we could have a go at doing as well. They were founded in 1946. Professional team, obviously, with a 3.5-star reputation. Their finances are secure. We'll get to that in a minute. The media prediction starts us off with a 10th place. You can see here legends of the club: Ruud Gullit, Pagliuca, Quagliarella's still at the club, Palombo, Lombardo, Lana, Mancini, loads there. Trevor Francis is actually listed on that list. Giuseppe Baldini. Loads of players have come through the doors at Sampdoria, and they are a team, like I said, they have quite a rich history and they have such passionate support too. So looking at the club there, as you can see, Fabio Quagliarella is still here at the club. He's 38 now, so don't think he's going to be sticking around too much in these 5 seasons that we are going to attempt to rebuild this team. But other than that, he's club captain. We have Albin Ekdal. Let's have a little look at him. He's a 31-year-old Swede who plays as a defensive midfielder. Starts the game off with some decent stats. For a 31-year-old, he's okay. He's got 3-star potential and current ability. So I know that the star ratings are against my own team. So against Sensi, who we have on loan, he's only 3 and 3. But as we go along, hopefully we'll be improving those. Antonio Candreva is our key player. He's an attacking midfielder who plays on the left, the right, through the centre. Bit of a jack of all trades there in the central positions. A very good footballer for the club as well. Our top prospect is Keiki Rocha. Doesn't really look too great. I mean, he's 20 years old, and I suppose he's okay. He's not ready for first team football according to my dev centre, but you never know. We could throw him in there. The only thing that goes against him in Italy, you are only allowed to have 2 non-EU registered players, I believe. So that might come back to haunt him. If we go and have a look at the competitions that we will take part in then. So we've got Serie A, where the expectation is to qualify for the Europa League. We have the Coppa Italia, where we are expected to reach the third round at a minimum. If we go and look at Serie A and go to the season preview, where are we expected to finish in the first season? So they want to qualify for the Europa League, but we're only predicted to finish 12th in the league by the press. So might have a bit of a job on our hands. Most of the team, the Media Dream 11 there is Inter Milan players. You can see Martinez, Barella, Brozovic, De Vrij, Skriniar, Mkhitaryan's in there. I don't know why. I thought he was pretty rubbish, but hey ho. He must be a lot better in Italy than he was in England. So yeah, we might have our work cut out here to improve from 300 to 1 outsiders to win the title to get into 6th place, which is basically where we need to finish in Serie A to please the board. And I'm not kidding you, the board are not easy to please at Sampdoria. Okay then, so let's have a little look at the club vision and what we are starting the game with. So the boards at this club are a little bit strange. I will pre-warn you, there are some quirks that are going to come into this. So the club culture at the moment is to play entertaining football, and this is kind of what I touched on in the intro. They are so reliant on working from within or developing players that they want us to sign players from the lower levels of the domestic game. Now, that used to be the blueprint of most clubs in Europe, I'm presuming. When you look back through the 70s and 80s, you'd always see teams that would go into the lower divisions, find that rough gem, polish it up and turn them into world stars. But I don't think that's the footballing world anymore. But that's what we are expected to work with, so we are going to have a good go at that. So you will see some odd signings in the first season, I will warn you of that. They want us to break even in the transfer market, so that means that in order to get money, we're going to have to move players on. When I show you the finances in a minute, you'll probably see why. And then they want us to work within the wage budget. Pretty simple, I think, but we haven't seen the squad yet. I think there are going to be some big earners in the team that might need moving on. End of the current season, they want us to qualify for the Europa League, as I just said, so that means 6th in the league, and they want us to reach the third round of the Coppa Italia at minimum. So at the end of the 22-23 season, our contract expires, and then they want us to continue qualifying for the Europa League, and they want us to challenge in a domestic cup competition at the end of 25-26. So not too bad there. Everything I think is pretty much in order in terms of what they want. That little quirk about having to go into the lower leagues is a little bit strange, but like I said, we're going to have a good go at working with that. In terms of finances at the club, the overall balance that we're going to start with is 13 million in the bank. 7.6 of that will be a transfer budget, and wage budget will be 751,000. The club are already spending £719,507, and the committed spending is 751,460. So we are bang to budget in terms of our wage allowance. In terms of debts and loans, we have miscellaneous debt of 44.5 million. There's 41.5 of that outstanding, and that runs until 2039. So that's just normal debt within the club. It's a net debt of 30 million and a transfer debt of 2.2 million. So not too bad in terms of a start for that. Right then, on to the squad first, and then we will jump in to show you the tactic we're going to play before moving into season 1. So you can see if we sort this team by age, they have become reliant on players who have been at the club for a long time. Fabio Quagliarella up front. Sebastian Giovinco is a player who went to the MLS. He's only 5'4". Crazy considering he's like a little dynamic attacker who lit up the MLS. Hasn't done so well since he's come back this side of the world. Antonio Candreva is 34. We've got Caputo on loan, who we turn into a permanent, unfortunately. Not a player I would want to sign, but we can have a little look at him, I suppose, in terms of what we're getting In the first season, he's okay. Pace, acceleration of 13. Finishing of 15, so I suppose he can score a goal or two. But with the tactic we're going to play, Quagliarella is going to be taking up that forward slot even at the age of 38. And then we've got a few more over 30. You've got Maya Yoshida, who was once at Southampton, Ravaglia, Ekdal, Gabbiadini is 29. He was also at Southampton. So quite a few players there that are okay, but they're going to be needing to move on pretty quickly. Our three goalkeepers. We have a couple of non-EU players to start us off. So Omar Colley, he is a centre-back. He's okay, I suppose. I think we'll probably look to move him on eventually. Maya Yoshida, you may have seen him actually. I signed him in my Bello Calcio save with Shonan Balmare, took him back to Japan. And even at the age of 36, 37, I think he was when we signed him, he's a rock solid defender. So he'll probably stick around, although a lot of the contracts are going to be running out very soon. I'll touch on that in a second. Other players then. So we've got a few right backs. Bartosz Berezinski, I think that says. We're going to go with that. Berezinski, Andrea Conti, Nicola Muru, Tommaso Orgello. He's decent enough. I think his contract runs until 2025, so we've got enough time with him. Then we've got a former Leeds player here, Ronaldo Vieira. Don't think he's going to be the best holding midfielder. I think we might move him on quite quickly. Morton Thorsby is a player that I had honestly never heard of until taking over here. 25 years old. He seems decent enough. I think he's a player who will hold his own in the middle of the park, and we can work with that. As I said, we have Candreva, who is probably going to be on the move. Christopher Askildsen, he is decent enough. He's another one I think we can develop at the age of 20, a Norwegian player who's capped by Norway. So another decent acquisition that they've got there to go with the experience. Let's show you Sebastian Giovinco. Like I said, he's a player who was once lighting it up in the MLS. He's got pretty decent stats for a 34-year-old. I'm not too sure he will be able to finish too many games. It says he's got stamina of 12, natural fitness of 13, but I don't know if he's up to Serie A levels from the get-go, so might look to move him on. Gabbiadini, like I said, the former Southampton forward. He has some decent stats, I suppose. 15 finishing, 16 first touch. Again, another one, 29 years old, so we probably could use him at the start of the save. But I do think this is going to be a big, big task. And then Fabio Quagliarella, let's have a look at him, considering he is 38 years old. He's okay, his finishing is good. His pace and his acceleration are not. He's a club legend, so might need to treat him with a bit of respect. Don't want to say we fear the players, but I've got a feeling he might be one that is bulletproof when it comes to being moved on. Although if we look at contract and then go by contract expires, you'll see the job that we've got. So you can see here that half of the team, it seems, are having contracts that expire at the end of the season. So Giovinco, Quagliarella, Ekdal, Caputo will sign permanently. Muru, Yoshida. There's a few others there that are out on loan. But we've got quite a big bulk of the first team who are going to be out of contract in the summer. So that might help if we can't move some of them on. Got a feeling it could be difficult to move some of them on. But that's pretty much the first team squad. If we look at the assistant report to see what he thinks is the best lineup, giving away the tactic that we're using here. So he thinks that the best first 11 is Ordero, Orgello, Ferrari, Yoshida, Berezinski, Sensi, who is on loan from Inter Milan. I forgot to show you him, but he's there. Ekdal, Askildsen, Damsgaard, Candreva, and Caputo up top instead of Quagliarella. In terms of squad depth, decent squad depth up front. Could probably do with a player or two in the wide areas. We've got quite a few players who can play in the centre of the park. Central defenders is somewhere we are going to need to improve. And then wing backs, I think we probably need a left back and a right back. Also, considering that Yoshida is considered the best right back at the club, and then in terms of goalkeepers, we have 3 of those. So, on to the tactic then. This is the tactic we are going to use. I have inventively named it Rebuild because that is what we are going to be using it for. You can see it's a sweeper keeper. We've got inverted wing backs, ball playing defenders, an RPM. I love the RPM role in this game. It's something I'd never really used before. I'd rather have had like a defensive midfielder or just a standard midfielder in that slot. But this RPM role, when I used it in Bello Calcio with James Garner, he was fantastic playing that role. So I thought we would go with that again. 2 CMs, 2 IFs, and a false 9 up top, which is probably why Caputo gets the nod over Quagliarella from the assistant report. So I think we have covered all of the bases for the intro to the concept. We're going to go for 5 seasons. We are going to try and build the club back to its glory days. Like I said, no Serie A win since 1991. That is the main objective. Obviously, the club wants us to get into Europe first, so building steps as we go along the way. But ultimately, can we get this club back to the top of Italian football? Let's jump into season 1 and show you how we got on, the signings we made, and did we win anything in the first year? Okay then, we are now at the end of season 1. We have jumped forwards and we are going to start off by showing you what we did in the transfer market. So in these saves, I have actually disabled the first transfer market windows. Don't want to really do any business or get rid of any players at the start. Want to try and work with what we've got and then develop the team as we go forward. So any of the transfers you're about to see all happened in the January transfer window. We did have some players that came in and went out. Let's start off looking at some of those with the ones that just ticked those boxes. So we needed to sign players from Serie B to please the board because you don't want to get sacked for not doing what they say. So we kind of went with the policy of if they look good enough, then maybe they will be. And also we used the clause in the club vision to try and plug some gaps. So we started off with Christian Pastina. He is a left back who comes from Benevento. He actually is a decent enough player, only 21 years old, ticks the box for the homegrown quota. So he can come in, he could be a rotation option, and at £2 million, he didn't break the bank. The next one was Pablo Rodriguez. He came in from Lecce. He's a Spanish striker, decent finishing, decent pace and acceleration. I think he's one for the future. Our scouts really liked him, so we went and picked him up. We did loan him back to them though, so not a big outlay at £1.9 million, but a player that we didn't actually use in the first season. Christian Buonuto, he comes from Cremonese, £2 million. He's on £17,000, so he did get himself quite a high wage, but he's 29 years old, so a bit more experience, can play wide left or wide right, which was where we had a few gaps along the way, so he also ticked those boxes. And then the last one of the box ticking exercise is a right back who can also play as a wing back, midfielder and a winger, so kind of decent enough signing for a rotation option should we need somebody or be pretty desperate. Another 29-year-old, so experienced enough. He's probably at the ceiling of what his footballing abilities are anyway, but he plugged the gap. And then we started signing players that weren't part of the checkbox exercise. So the first one was Carlo Pinsolio, and there's a funny story around this signing. We'll get to it once we get to the other side of the transfer screen. But basically, he's a 32-year-old goalkeeper who has been capped by the under-21s in Italy, was playing for Juventus, came to us for 325,000 because we literally needed to tick a box for a homegrown player who can just sit around the club and not do a lot. We did sign a first-team goalkeeper, though, so we have a first choice. Marek Rodak came to us from Fulham. He's a Slovak international. Decent enough. Again, our scouts found him. He was on the transfer list, so we snapped him up. Not too big of a transfer fee at £3.2 million. Don't know if he'll be long term, but he's certainly a player that we looked at in the short term just to plug a gap, and we'll show you why in a second. The next one we signed was Ronnie. He's a £3 million Brazilian. He's 27 years old, so probably not too much development left to come out of him, but he does have good acceleration, good pace, decent enough finishing and technique. So one who came in again to plug a gap, to be a rotation option, and that's exactly what we used him at as. Then we saved all our pennies up towards the end of the transfer window. We noticed that this guy was on the market. A player that I had watched for a little while. Didn't think we were going to be able to afford the wages because he's on £57,000. But Daniele Rugani came to us from Juventus, a current Italian international with 7 caps. He was called up at the end of the season. So he's a decent centre-back option to be paired with either Yoshida or Colli. Both of those players complement him well. And he had a brilliant first season, getting a 7.33 average rating in Serie A. The last 2 players we signed then were Francisco Ginella. He is a Uruguayan under-20 capped player. He plays as a midfielder or a defensive midfielder. He's a decent enough 3-star potential against what we've got at the club. Decent enough stats. At his age, might develop a little bit more, but probably not. Another good rotation option. He has a second nationality of Italian also, so didn't need to learn the language or to get one of those non-EU spots. And then the last one that we signed was Gavin Kilkenny. He is 22 years old, come from Bournemouth. Another one the scouts found and they thought was quite an interesting project. I think they think he's got a lot of potential. So we went out, spent a few pennies on him. Not really that much of a risk at £475,000. So that was the business in. Let's start explaining the business out then. So the reason we had to go and sign Carlo Pinsolio was because for some reason Juventus not only signed one of our goalkeepers and then stuck him in the under-23s, but they signed 2 of our goalkeepers and stuck him in the under-23s. So for some reason we managed to get 2 for the price of 1. So we bought 1 for £325,000 and we sold them. How much is that in total? £1 million worth of goalkeeper. Don't know why the game does it sometimes. It's a little bit strange. Maybe they were ticking boxes as well, but they sold an Italian and bought 2 more Italians. So not too sure what happened there. But anyway, Sebastian Giovinco was going to leave on a free. He went for £20,000. We managed to push him out the door a bit early. Pablo Rodriguez stayed at Lecce on loan. Aquino is just a youth teamer that we moved on. Muru went to Parma for £500,000. Ordero was the main reason that we signed Rodak. He was our first choice goalkeeper. He went to Rennes for £1.8 million. So that was the reason that we went and got Rodak. We then had Falcone go to Juventus. We had Andrea Conti go to Valencia for £850,000. Ronaldo Vieira went to Dinamo Moscow for £725,000. And Gerard Iepes went back on loan to Pontevedra after we signed him earlier on in the season. So, in terms of the amount of money we spent, £31 million, we recouped 11 of it, a net spend of £20 million. The board did inject a little bit more in the January transfer window to help us out because we were hovering around 9th or 10th. Where did we finish? Any guesses where we finished? Let's show you. Somehow, we managed to finish in 3rd place and qualify for the Champions League. Absolutely amazing, considering this team was an absolute mess when we took over. Those contracts, the old players, it really was a challenge. Our form at the end of the season kind of picked up. You can't see it there because our recent form suggests we lost a few games, and we did. We lost 11 in total, but more importantly, we got 73 points and a goal difference of 23. Regani coming in January really plugged the gap in the defence, and he managed to build himself up into a bit of a fan favourite. So a really good signing in Regani. We also managed to win the Coppa Italia. Don't ask me how, but somehow we beat Juventus 3-2 in the final. They took the lead early through Bonucci, and then Candreva, Sensi and Regani all scoring goals before it all went mental at the end of the game. Artur, 72 minutes. Bonucci gets sent off after 84, and Dusan Vlahovic missed a penalty after 95 minutes. We ended up winning a trophy in the first season and adding to that Coppa Italia haul that Sampdoria already have, adding 2022 next to 1994. Let's go into the league though and show you a bit more about the league. So 38 games, we've got 73 points. We had 11 losses, familiar names on there: Milan, Inter, Milan again, Juventus, Inter, Lazio, Napoli. So all those ones are okay. Bologna and Salernitana were pretty disappointing defeats. Yeah, Torino, even the Torino game was a little bit odd. We just didn't play well, and yeah, it was just an odd game. But then the wins, we beat most of the teams you would expect, but there are some big names on there too. So we beat Juventus 4-0 somehow, we beat Lazio 3-2, beat Napoli 1-0, beat Udinese 3-2. So some decent teams on the list of wins as well. And that brought us to a third in the table with a 73-point haul with a 23 goal difference. Looking at the player stats for the league, didn't have any of the top goal scorers because Quagliarella is our best striker. In terms of average rating, Lorenzo Insigne 7.45. That's not our player. Why are Napoli in purple? Don't know what's happened there. Don't know why Lorenzo Insigne is highlighted in purple, but he's not our player, is he? So nothing in the average ratings. In terms of assists, Stefano Sensi, 12 assists, and that is quite important because he was playing as the RPM for most of the season, and that is why I love that role in this game this year. In terms of anything else, Lorenzo Insigne is there again, but he's not our player. Yellow cards, Berezinski getting 15 of those is probably not a good thing. So, a pretty decent first season then in total, finishing third in the league, which is far beating the expectation of both the media, who had us down as 12th, 6th, which is what we needed to qualify for the Europa League. Instead, we have Champions League football. Let's show you a bit of the club vision. In terms of the club vision then, so they want us to be playing as a club culture now, entertaining football, sign players under the age of 23 for the first team and play high tempo pressing football. Thank goodness that signed Serie B players has gone, because it's such a pain. It takes up money, and really didn't want to be signing some of the players that we did, but we had to tick the boxes to not get the sack and all those kinds of things. 5-year plan going forwards then, work within the wage budget, that's fine. Sign players to sell for a profit. We've already kind of started doing that with players like Kilkenny. I think that the board or the scouts will have seen he has a good potential. Maybe we can sell him on at a profit. And then minimum 3-year contracts for the first team players. I have a feeling that is because we have quite a lot of players who are just walking away for nothing at the end of this season. So they want to tie their first teamers down for a little bit longer. In terms of the end of next season, they want us to be in the top half again. So it gets a little bit easier, not having to chase 6th place just in case it doesn't go to plan. Champions League, because we qualified, they want us to reach the group stage at a minimum. I think we can do that. Then they want us to work towards being the best of the rest and become recognised as best of the rest, and then continue to be recognised as the best of the rest. So they went from quite demanding to quite reasonable quite quickly. I've got a feeling that we can achieve all of those things that they want. In terms of finances, last season we started off with a £7 million transfer budget. We managed to turn that into £31 million spent, but don't forget there were transfers that had actually gone through before I started spending money, because they had agreed deals that tick over when the game starts and those kinds of things. In terms of the transfer budget for next season, though, it's £16.8 million. So with Champions League football coming, an expansion of the schedule is going to impact the squad. We are going to need some reinforcements, so look out for that next season. We are going to try and spend quite big. Wage budget of £788,000. That's quite good because of the players that are leaving. We only have a committed spending of £603,000. So we have room to go out and spend the 16 million and bring in players on decent wages. We're not restricted by that. If we go and have a look at the squad and have a look at our assistant report, this is the team that he thinks at this current moment is our best 11. Rodak would be in goal, Orgello, Ferrari, Rugani and Berezinski. Sensi, who is going back to Inter Milan, there's no way we can afford the £25 million fee or whatever it is that they want. Ginella, Thorsby, Damsgaard, Candreva and Gabbiadini. So a decent enough first season. Trophy on the board with the Coppa Italia, a 3rd place in the league. Can we keep it up in season 2? Can we improve on that 3rd place? It's going to be difficult. Can we win any more trophies? And how will we get on in the Champions League? Let's jump into season 2 and show you how we get on. Same as season 1 then, we are going to start off with the transfer business and show you exactly what players we brought in, what players we let leave the club. We are on the 1st of June 2023, so it is the end of season 2. Let's start off then. You can see that we have spent £50 million in season 2. 16 million was our budget, but you can see that we only brought in £14.25 million. So that's 16 million we actually managed to get a bit more off the board, and we spent the lot. Basically, every time we were given money, we went out and spent it. There were a few players that we had already agreed free transfers for at the start of the season. So, Capaferri, Franco Langella, and Ike Gill from Real Madrid. They all came in on free transfers, as did Fabio Carvalho. So he's a player in real life. He's just about to sign for Liverpool at the end of the season in real life. We thought, why not? He's a free transfer. He's 20 years old, Portuguese, under 21 international. Fits the bill of players that you can sign. And then if it doesn't work out, you just sell him on and it's instant profit, isn't it? You know, even if you get £1 for him, it's a profit, and the board are going to have to take that as a tick on that box. But he seems a decent enough player. He's played some games across the season. You can see he took part in our Champions League campaign. He took part in Serie A too. Got himself in and amongst the goals. We signed 1p from Alain. He's a just rotation option. He can play left, right, central, all as attacking midfielder option. It was probably our weakest point. So defensive midfielder, we needed probably another defender, and then striker is going to become an issue. But I don't know if you've seen further on down yet. We do plug that gap too. Federico Oliva is a player who was attracting interest from our scouts. He's an American, so we went and got him. Second nationality, Spanish, I believe, so no problems getting him into the team. Francesco Caputo, unfortunately, he's the player that we didn't want to sign, but he did join anyway. His contract, though, is about to run out in a couple of days' time, so he's off to Mines. Not really fussed about that at all. And then we signed his replacement, Mr. Lorenzo Luca. He's the man that everybody talks about in this game. He's the 6'7" striker who can finish. He's got good pace. He's got good technique. He's got brilliant finishing. And as you can see, he has had a brilliant first season. Goes straight in as first choice striker. And we are very pleased to have got that one done. We then went on a bit of a spending spree. So we needed some options at centre-back. So Radinho Bolka, he's a squad player that we bought in, didn't really get himself involved in the first team, so he looks like he's going to be heading straight back out. He's already asked to leave the club. Chris Richards is a signing that I was quite happy with. £3.8 million from Bayern Munich. He's 6'2", tackling of 13, pace of 16, can play as a right back, can play as a left back, can play as a centre back. He's a good kid that I think will develop. He's a 3.5 star to start, 4-star potential against our team. So I was pretty pleased with that one. Then Ahmed Odzic is a player that I signed for Leeds United in my save earlier on in the year. Nothing really needing to be said about that. He did spend a season on loan in the first year with the season updates. Like when the game first started, he was at Malmo, and then he was loaned out in real life. So you can't sign him in that first season anyway. As soon as the second season come, £4.7 million, we will have that. Thank you very much. Then we needed a strike option that was cheap. Cenk Tosun was available. Yeah, this one, £10,000, weren't really too bothered, or £10,000 of wages, weren't really too bothered about that. He had good finishing. He has no pace. He has no acceleration. But he wasn't going to be playing games anyway, and that's why he's already out of the club, as you might have seen there. So again, not too fussed about that. Maxime Lopez, he is a French under-21 international, 25 years old. We bought him in. He has settled in really, really well at the club. He played quite a big role in his first season, so decent signing there. Koke was a player that popped up from our scouting report. They really liked him, give him an A-, so we went in and signed him. Not too expensive either at £1.1 million. We then signed a player that it kind of all went wrong from Venezia, Michael Cuisance. On paper, he looks like he's a fantastic midfielder. Couldn't really get into the team. When he was in the team, he didn't play well. Dropped him. He caused problems. He's asked to leave, and I think he'll probably be leaving the club as quickly as he's arrived. And then we signed another goalkeeper, Andrei Kolar. He's a Czech international. Decent first choice goalkeeper. We needed a better one than Marek Rodak, and he's the one that we settled on. And then the final signing was Damari Gray, a bit of a panic buy because we needed a right winger. wasn't much available on the market, but we saw him for £1.9 million. We know he's decent enough because he's a Premier League player, so brought him in. He played a few games, didn't really impact the first team, so nothing ventured, nothing gained, as they say. So then, in terms of players that went out, Quagliarella, Yoshida, Ekdal, Prelak, Brenton, all left on free transfers. Quagliarella, Yoshida, and Ekdal taking big wages with them. We had a few under 20s players, Colano, and then Omar Colley left for £3.8 million. That helped us generate some of the spending on this side. Manolo Gabbiadini left. He went to Fiorentina for 6.75. Valerio Ver, he went to Freiburg for 550,000. And then we managed to get £245,000 from Mainz for Tosun, which means that in the same season, we managed to check off the objective of signing players and sell them on for a profit. So pretty decent, if not cheeky, way of doing that. So after a third place finish in Serie A last season, can we improve upon that in this one? Let's jump to the competitions tab and show you. No is the answer, but we weren't far away considering we had Champions League football this season as well. That expanded schedule really started to show. We had tired players coming towards the end of the season, needed that bigger squad. Those rotation players that we brought in were vital. You can see that we were knocked out, though, in the Champions League in the first round by Chelsea. We were knocked out in the quarterfinals of the Coppa Italia, this time by Inter, and we were runners-up in the Supercoppa Italiana. So nothing to add to the trophy collection in this season. But if we show you Serie A, we finished on 75 points this time around. We only had 9 losses, but we had more draws. 23 wins, 6 draws, 9 losses. 37 goal difference, 75 points. Even though we finished as far behind Milan as we did, it was actually a decent season in terms of progress. Looking at the player stats, nobody in the goal scorers, even though Luca has come in now, he's about to establish himself as the first team striker, so only half a season there, couldn't get himself on the board quickly enough. No average ratings. Assists, Candreva 12 off of the right wing, cutting inside. That's a decent return there. If we go to the homepage, we can show you that our best performers across the season then, Mikael Damsgaard was our top goal scorer with 17, so he's cutting in off the left. Damsgaard is decent enough player and one that we are lucky to have had, really, because if he wasn't at the club, it would have literally just been like a club for old men, and it really would have been a problem if we didn't have some of the younger talent in the team. Highest average rating was Antonio Candreva, so again, an older player. When you sign youngsters and they say you need experienced players to show them the way, this really is what happened. Candreva, most assists was Candreva, best pass completion was Ahmed Hodzic, Mikael Damsgaard, most player of the match awards, Berezinski, most yellow cards, and Berezinski, most red cards. So let's show you what happened with the club vision then. So they were pleased that we played entertaining football. They were delighted that we signed players under the age of the 23 for the first team. They were pleased that we play high-tempo pressing football. And then for next season, they've brought back the dreaded signed players from the lower levels of domestic game. Don't know why the board are insisting on doing this. It's a little bit crazy. I might try and ignore it in season 3, but I don't know whether that's like hanging the rope for yourself or not, but hey ho, we'll see about that when we get to it. In terms of the 5-year plan now, work within the wage budget, we're on course. Sign players to sell for a profit still. They're reserving judgment, but we've been doing it on the sly. We've been doing it. Minimum 3-year contracts for first team players, so that's the same. Next season, top half and reach the Champions League group stage, because again, finishing 4th, qualify for the Champions League, and then it's maintain top half, maintain top half, maintain top half. So we are now establishing ourselves as a top half team, even though they wanted to be classed as best of the rest. We finished 3rd, we finished 4th. They still want top half, so we'll take that on the quiet. That is achievable for us. In terms of finances then for the next season, so in the bank now we have £32 million. Our transfer budget for the 3rd season is £26 million. 26.8 is interesting. Our wage budget has gone up to £1 million. Our current spending is 946,000, but our committed spending is 890,000. So a lot of room there for us to go out, change things up, and hopefully bring players into the club. If we go to the squad and we have a look at our assistants report, let's have a look. So Kola is now our best goalkeeper. Orgello, Rugani, Ahmed Odzic and Richards as right back. He can play all across the back, so he's sound there. We've got Lopez, who is our DMC. Ginella, Thorsby, Damsgaard, Candreva and Luca up top. So this team now, I think, is starting to take a shape where each season we're just improving bit by bit by bit. So Rugani and Ahmed Hozic and Richards have all come in. Luca now is the pinpoint at the top. He's going to start getting the ball played into him from Damsgaard. Candreva probably going to come to the end, so we're going to probably need to replace him on the right wing. But it's a sound base to work from. A third place, a fourth place, we're going in the right direction. No trophy, so hopefully we'll address that in season 3. And also, I hope we can start to climb a little bit closer to Milan and those teams that finished above us last season, because that's the direction we need to go in if we're going to win Serie A. So let's jump into season 3 and show you how we get on in the 3rd year. Here we are then at the completion of season 3. As always, we're going to dive into the transfers and show you what happened, the players that came in and the players that went out, so we can see how this season was built. We started off with a few free signings. We went and picked up Joshua Zirkzee. He came from Bayern Munich on a free transfer. He's a sound player, really, that could come in, play a number of positions and settle into the team quite well. Also, he ticks the box. If we sell him on, we're going to make a profit. They're free transfers, aren't they? Mads Bidstrup was another one. We bought him in on a free transfer. Danish international. Not very expensive on the wages. Has sound set of skills in terms of his technicals, his physicals. He's a player that can play in a numerous amount of roles. And again, he's an option just as a plug and play if we need him somewhere in the team. Pablo Maffeo. He is a right back who can play all up the right hand side. Not an expensive option, but £61,000 in terms of wages. But he's clearly now our best right back, which means that Richards can probably start playing in his more natural centre back role. He was another free transfer as well. So again, if it doesn't work out, we just move him on. We're going to make a profit off of those. Here's a name that crops up on a lot of Football Manager videos these days. Burak Ince. What needs to be said? He's absolutely sound as a footballer. He's still young. He's 20 years old. He has 19 under 21 caps for Turkey. So £9.5 million. He's a sound purchase. We then bought Mahmoud Dahoud. He's a player that, again, was brought in to play through the middle of the park. I noticed during the season that the spine of the team was just a little bit weak, so we wanted a player who can come in. He has good passing technique, teamwork and vision and work rate, those kinds of things. Everything you need in a midfielder / defensive midfielder. So another sound signing at £13 million. Then we forgot about the whole bogus signed Serie B players, so we started doing that. Samuel Vinato is a young striker, 20 years old, another Italian, inexpensive, so we just went and ticked that box. Manilo Neri from Venezia, regen. Don't know much about him. Scouts kind of said that he had something about him, so we went and spent a couple of quid on him just to tick the boxes. And then we started signing some more serious players. We were a little bit light on the right-hand side. Candreva not really performing brilliantly across the season, so we went and bought Conrad De La Fuente. We needed an option as well to cover for Damsgaard on the left. De La Fuente can do both. Had him in the lead save right at the start of FM. Fantastic player. His stats don't look all that, but acceleration 17, pace 16, natural fitness of 15. Can do it all, Conrad, and he's a sound player in this game. So we bought him for £16 million, rising to 18.25. Then Giovanni Cabral. He's a player that we bought in from Sporting Lisbon, by the looks of it, or Sporting CP that I keep getting told they're called, not Sporting Lisbon. But yeah, Sporting, another quick, dynamic winger, acceleration 16, pace of 15, natural fitness of 16. A player who I really like on this game, and I think he's going to be one that gets himself ahead of the others. Carlos Mane is another one. Portuguese under 21 international, 30 years old now, just literally brought in as a rotation option. Needed a couple of players who could play off the left and the right. So, like I was saying, plugging those gaps where we need them is the way to go forwards, I believe, in this save. So that means that players have had to go out. So some of the ones on the right hand side are just not relevant. Players like Sommer, Fabricoli, Rocker, Leica, Caputo, they're all, well, Caputo was the player who we didn't want at the start. He was kind of given to the club, or we had to pay a fee or something from the loan. Managed to get him out the door, get his wages off the bill. The other players above him are all youth teamers, so no real big damage there. Then Diapoli, Mr. Buonito, who was the tick box from the first season, he went. Berezinski has now moved on as we have signed Maffeo. Ronnie left the club, signed for 3 million, signed for 2.5, didn't make a profit, but nothing bad there. The next couple are unimportant, a couple of £1,000. Julian Chabot went to Porto for £2.2 million. He was out on loan in the first season, come back, or first 2 seasons, come back, managed to get a nice amount of money for him. 1p, who is another one who we signed on a free transfer last season, sold him for £2.1 million, so made a profit on him. And then Antonio Candreva went out for 135,000, and then Tamari Ray went out for 975,000 to Torino, so made a small loss on him, but nothing terrible. So that's the transfer business we've done. We had an outlay of £71 million this time, a total comeback in of 19.75. So we invested in the first team quite heavily. Did it pay off? Let's look at the competitions tab. We got back up to 3rd place. So you can see 3rd place in Serie A this time. Champions League, though, didn't make it out of the group stage, which put us into the Europa League. And then we got knocked out in the second round of that by Arsenal. But we did add another Coppa Italia to our list. So that's 22-24 Coppa Italia winners. We said that they like that competition. I think they'd already won it 4 times before. Mate, that's 6 times now. So that's kind of our trophy at the moment. So a little breakdown then of Serie A. You can see that this time around we had 80 points. So we closed that gap to the teams above us. We were miles behind Milan last season. We now are closer. Inter only a point ahead of us, and Juventus 8 points ahead of us. We had 8 losses, 5 draws, and 25 wins. A goal difference of 45. And when you look at the 2 above us on 46 and 44, we are bang there for what we need. So we are getting the balance right. And like I said, those little blocks of just build and build and build and build, they are exactly what we need to start climbing this table. So in season 3, we have gone, well, so we're in season 3. Season 1 was 3rd, season 2 was 4th, season 3 is back to 3rd. We are closer to them. In terms of player stats, nobody in the top goal scorers, but Immobile getting 36 league goals is just mind-blowing. How he scored 36 league goals and Lazio only have a goal difference of 25, I do not know. Strange old season there. In terms of average ratings, though, Lorenzo Luca 7.52 and Giovanni Cabral 7.46, so 2 decent there. Lorenzo Luca getting 9 player of the match awards. That's decent enough. We go back to the home screen. Let's show you our own performers then. So Luca got 29 goals in the season. He is a bit of a man mountain, isn't he? You can see 6'7", finishing 16. You all know about Lorenzo Luca by now. I'm just surprised that no bigger club has come along and tried to sign him already. I don't know if in real life there is a deal in place for somebody, but if he's as good in real life as he is in this game, he is going to be absolutely brilliant. He got the highest average rating, 7.45. Most assists went to Maxime Lopez, 17 assists, so decent return from him. Ahmed Hodzic had best pass completion of 97%. Don't know how many games that's across or whether that's a season or not. If it's 97% across the season, that is fantastic. Most player of the match awards was Lorenzo Luca with 11. Most yellow cards was Ahmed Hodzic with 17. And we didn't have a single red card in a season. So well done for being good boys. Let's look at the other competitions then. As I said, went out in the Champions League in the group stage. We did win 2 games, got 6 points, but must have gone out on goal difference. Somehow we had a -5. Presume we got hammered by Dortmund, was it? Group stage, 4 groups. Well, Gio Reyna there has got... Yeah, so we lost 4-1 to Borussia Dortmund in the away game and lost 3-2 in the home game. But we also got beat 4-1 by Real San Sebastian, Sociedad, and Benfica. So, interesting. No player stats for us on that one. And then we went into the Europa League and promptly got knocked straight back out of the Europa League by Arsenal. Coppa Italia, let's have a little look at that. So, beating Milan in the final in extra time. That's trophy number 2. Maxim Lopez with 4 assists and Ahmed Hodzic with 4 yellow cards in that competition, making the naughty boys list. So let's have a little look at the Club Vision tab then. So you can see in terms of the Club Vision now, play entertaining football, pleased. Sign players under the age of 23 for the first team, satisfied. Playing high tempo pressing football, delighted. Lower league, nonsense. Disappointed. We did 2 or 3 players. Thought we'd kind of hit the quota. Maybe not. They probably wanted more. But hey ho, we didn't get the sack, so we're not worried about that. In terms of the 5-year plan, it's work within the wage budget still. We're on course. Sign players to sell for a profit. They're now pleased with that because we kind of slyly did that. 3-year contracts for the first team players. They're not judging, but we are doing that. And then for the end of next season, they want the top half. They want us to reach the group stage of the Champions League. And now it's changed slightly. They want to qualify for the Europa League, become recognised as the best of the rest, continue being recognised as the best of the rest. So I think that's all achievable. In terms of the finances then, £34.5 million in the bank, £24.2 million as a transfer budget, a wage budget of £1.3 million. Committed spending for next season is £1.2 million. So again, nice little bit of room between the wage budget limit and where we are. Allows me to spend that transfer budget and get the players in that we need. So finally then, let's look at our best 11 for the assistants report. So they think now our best 11 is Kolaf in goal, Orgello, Richards, Ahmed Hodzic and Maffio. No place for Regani. Lopez, Askildsen, Thorsby, Damsgaard, Cabral and Luca. So again, the team is now being moulded. Cabral coming in, Luca coming in. Got those 2 quick dynamic wingers. Damsgaard is good, Cabral is good, Luca's good up top. We've then got the centre backs and established right back now. Centre of the park is where I think we're going to need to look next. I think it's a place where, even though we've got good players, we don't have great players. And I think when you've got a great striker like Luca, we're going to need to up our game in the middle of the park. So let's jump forward into season 4, see how we get on, and most importantly, see how we spend that £26 million transfer budget. Here we go then, at the end of season 4, we're going to start off as per usual with the transfer business we did. You can see we've spent another £42 million on players, but this time we have gone for quality over quantity, only signing 4 players. We'll show you those in a second. We have recouped only £3.2 million. Quite a few players have left the club. Some walked out and some we pushed out. So let's start off as always with the players that have coming in. We managed to get Luca to sign a new contract, and one of the things he kept banging on about in these contract negotiations were we need to improve the middle of the park. If you remember, at the end of season 3, I said that middle of the park where the core is where we're going to need to improve this season, and that is exactly what we did. So we went and spent £12.25 million on Roberto Gagliardini. He is an important player in terms of his agreed playing time. 7 caps for Italy, 31 years old, so a bit of experience in the middle of the park as well. He has some decent stats for his tackling, his work rate, teamwork, anticipation, balance, stamina and strength are all good. I think he's an all-round winner who's played at a bigger team, and I think he can bring that in and coach the players whilst playing alongside them in our team. He's a model professional, tireless midfielder. He, I think, is going to be an absolute bargain at £12 million. Salvatore Esposito is a player that we bought in from Roma. He's a player that gets on some of these Wonder Kid lists. Only 24 years old. Stats are fantastic. Decisions, determination, vision, natural fitness. Did have to put him on £94,000, which is quite a big amount. He's a star player now for this team. 10 under 21 caps. He's going to fit seamlessly into our style of play, I'm sure. The next one is another one that's on those Wonder Kid lists, Giacomo Faticanti. Signed him for about £5 million as a breakthrough prospect. He's one that's going to come in and just rotate in and out of the team. I'm pretty sure he will only get better as the save goes on. Maybe he even isn't one for within this season. Maybe in next season's review we will see that he comes on leaps and bounds. And then the last one that we managed to get in was Matteo Vitti, another centre back, just a little bit of cover. Ahmed Hodzic had picked quite a few injuries throughout the season, so we thought we'll get a little bit of cover and see if we can get a younger centre back in to play some games just as a rotation option. He ended up playing quite a few games across the season. When we go back then and show you the players that have gone out, so Lerris, Kilkenny, Bidstrup. So Kilkenny and Bidstrup, I think we signed Kilkenny for around the same price we sold him. Bidstrup was a free transfer. We've made £1.6 million off of him. Got some younger players going out. Radino Bolka, he was the one that I said I don't think he'd be around much longer. He actually stayed until this season. Got rid of him for £125,000. Michael Cuisance is another one. We bought him in. He wasn't happy. Didn't really play very well when he did play, so we sold him to Rennes for £475,000. The other ones there are loan deals or players that are not really important to the save. So that's the transfer business that we've done. Again, like I said, we were building blocks. We started off at the back, we've built the wings, we've now built the centre, we've got Luca up top, so surely we're going to have a really good season. How do you think we're going to get on? Let's show you how we got on. Competitions tab, you can see we won Serie A. The objective of this save was to bring the glory days back to Sampdoria. We have done exactly that. We've won the league by 2 points, achieving 90 points. Fantastic. When you look at the gap to Atalanta in third, it was a 2-horse race between us and Milan for most of the season. We managed to come out on top. And as you can see by the league positions, we were atop for quite a while at the end of the season. It was punch for punch, but we did manage to hold them off and we won the Serie A. In terms of the Champions League, we were knocked out in the first round by Borussia Dortmund. Don't like facing Dortmund. They battered us last year in the group stages. They've beaten us again in the knockout phase. We were runner-up in the Coppa Italia. Who did we lose in the final to this time? Played Inter in the final and lost 6-3. Mad game there. The Supercoppa Italiana, we actually won it this time, beating Juventus on penalties. So 2 trophies, Supercoppa, Serie A. Let's have a little look at Serie A so we can break it down a little bit more for you. So 28 wins, 6 draws, 4 losses, goal difference of 74 and 90 points on the board. Ciro Immobile there doing his bit again, 30 goals in the league. That's 66 league goals in 2 campaigns. That is pretty impressive. But Giovanni Cabral getting onto the average rating list, that is pretty good too. If we do the usual, go to the homepage and show you who our best players were across the season. So top goal scorer was Luca with 24. Giovanni Cabral, 7.53 average rating. Most assists again was Maxime Lopez with 15. Best pass completion this time was Matteo Vitti with 98%. Maxime Lopez was most man of the matches with 7. Pablo Maffio was most yellow cards. And then we had 3 red cards after getting none last season, with Thorsby, Pestina and Maffio all getting 1 each. Back to the competitions tab then. So yeah, Serie A is ticked off. Supercoppa Italiana is ticked off. Coppa Italia is ticked off. The only thing we really need to do now is go and win the Champions League. We have 1 season left. It's going to be a tall order. I'm not too sure we're quite at that point, but we are promised to bring the glory days back, and we have in Serie A. So in terms of the club vision now, the board are adding things on as we go along. So play entertaining football, sign players under 23, play high tempo pressing football. They now want attacking football, possession football, and to make the most of set pieces. So yeah, they pretty much want everything. The 5-year plan now is to work within the wage budget and give 3-year contracts to first team players. They now want us to still qualify for the Europa League, even though we're in the Champions League this year. So surely they think we should qualify for the Champions League, but hey ho, reach. What does that say? First knockout round is a minimum in the Champions League this season. Then for the 26-27, it's now qualified for the Champions League, challenge for a domestic cup, and then continue qualifying for the Champions League going forward. So the ambition is there after this season, but for next season, we still only have to qualify for the Europa League. In terms of finances then, going into Season 5, overall balance is now £27 million. So even though we won the league, we haven't been getting far enough into Europe to seemingly bring the big money in. We did spend quite a lot of last season's transfer budget with instalments. So there are a few payments that are affecting the transfer budget. So we have £11 million to work with, which I think is decent enough. We are only going to be looking at one area next season, and we'll get to that when we get to next season. But wage budget committed is 1.5 million. The wage budget is 1.66 million. So again, for what we are looking for, there is enough there to work with. If we show you the squad then, so assistant report, our current best 11 now then reads Kohler in goal, Orgello, Regani, Ahmed Hodzic are back in the centre back partnership. Richards has re-overtaken from Maffio, Esposito, Thorsby and Lopez, and Damsgaard, Cabral and Lucas. So this season, won the league by building that core in the middle of the pitch. Went and bought those players. I don't understand why. Who was it? Gagliardini should be in that best 11, I'm sure, because he seems to be a lot better than Thorsby. Yeah, not too sure why he isn't in that best 11, but we did build that spine of the team going through the middle of the park, and that is kind of, I think, where we won the league, with Cabral, Damsgaard supplying Luca, and then those three holding in front of the in front of the defensive line. I think we really have built a team that can challenge now. Certainly for Serie A, hopefully for the Champions League, we have one season left of the save. Can we do it? Can we push for a Champions League? Is it a step too far? Let's jump into Season 5, show you who we signed and how we got on. Here we go then. This is it, the final season of the save. It's all been building up to this moment. Can we go one further and win a Champions League or defend the Serie A title? At the end of Season 4, I said there was only one position we were interested in now. We had built this team from the defenders, core in the middle, the wingers. We got Luca up top. We hadn't got a goalkeeper. We had that weird goings on with Juventus at the start of the save, them buying goalkeepers, us buying goalkeepers, and then we got Rodak from Fulham, and we also got Koller from, I think it was Slavia Prague. Across the seasons that they've been at the club, they've done well, but we needed a top-class goalkeeper. And this is the one we went and bought. Alban Lafont for £53 million. Now, this is an instalments deal. We did have to try and wangle it a little bit to get the money. Obviously, we only had £11 million to spend, but somehow managed to shift it around. Got the board to agree to give us a bit more. We, with the instalment deals, got this deal done. He is a fantastic goalkeeper and one for the last season that hopefully is going to influence us and help us at the back to go on to bigger and better things. The only other player that we bought in was Fernino. He is a player from Villarreal, Spanish forward. Luca got injured during the season, so we had to go and buy another striker. He was cheap. The scouts liked him, so it was a no-brainer. For a couple of £1 million, we went and got him. The only three players that we did let go of during this season were free transfers, with Pinsolio, the weird Juventus transfer, going to an even more weird Real Madrid. Don't know why, couldn't explain it. He's now like 35 and yeah, not going to play for them, just going to sit on the bench, which is what big clubs seem to do. So then, that's the only transfers that we did. We did spend quite a lot of money in this final season. Can we go and win the Champions League? Can we defend Serie A? Let's have a look. Jumping into the competitions tab, you can see that we didn't do either. We finished second in Serie A, which is very commendable effort. Only 2 points off of Milan, so a decent effort, but we couldn't get across the line. You can see at the top there, we had led for quite a while. Our recent form at the end was brilliant. Milan just pipping us by 2 points. In terms of the Champions League, disappointment again. 3 seasons in a row now, Borussia Dortmund have just basically took the pee out of us. They battered us in the group stage 2 years ago, knocked us out in the same round last year, and they've done it again this year. We were knocked out in the semi-finals by AC Milan in the Coppa Italia, so they beat us in the league, they beat us in the Coppa Italia. But the Super Coppa Italiana, we managed to win that, and we beat Inter 3-2 in a one-off game to pick up that trophy. So not a major one to finish on, but we do get another trophy to add to the collection there. So looking at Serie A, you can see, as I said, losing out by 2 points. We played 38, won 28, drew 5, lost 5. Had a goal difference of 65, which is a little bit strange considering Luca got 25 in a season, but our goalkeeper, which I thought was going to upgrade the team, that's debatable. But looking across those player stats then, Lorenzo Luca getting 25 goals. Maxime Lopez and Lorenzo Luca in the average ratings. Maxime Lopez, 18 assists across the season is a good return. When we go to the home screen and look at our own players, Lorenzo Luca then, 30 goals in the season. Maxime Lopez, a 7.63 average rating. 20 assists for him across the year. Vitti with the best pass completion for the second year in a row with 98%. Lopez for most player of the match awards. Mafio is a naughty boy with 15 yellow cards. He also had a red card alongside Ahmed Hodzic. So then, in terms of the club vision, we are going to round the save out with a B from the board. We have hit everything in terms of club culture, play entertaining football, sign players under the age of 23, play high tempo pressing football, play attacking football, play possession football, and make the most of set pieces. So we have pleased the board enough to get a B. Second in the league. We haven't been outside of the top 4 in any of the seasons that we have took on this challenge, and trust me, this was difficult with the start of the game. I think that this has been absolutely fantastic. If we go and look at the squad then, our final best 11, Lafont in goal, Augello, Vitti, Ahmed Hodzic and Richards, Esposito, Thorsby and Lopez, Cabral, Damsgaard and Luca up top. So then all that leaves us to do is go to the club info page, go to the trophies won, and let's have a little recap. So at the start of the save, there was only a 1 in this column. 2025, we won Serie A. Can't win a Cup Winners' Cup because it doesn't exist anymore, but we have added 2 more Coppa Italias to the list, 22 and 24. The Super Coppa we have also added in 25 and 26. So that, for me, is a brilliant way to end the rebuild. I think that we've put the team now in a position where they can go on and have success going forwards. They can sell off some of the players if they don't want to use them. The squad players are there to make profit. Some of the ones we bought in for cheaper, they can sell on. We have won a league. We have won cups. We have won Super Coppas. I think this has been a brilliant experiment. Doing this rebuild has been fantastic fun. It was so difficult at the start. If you want to have a go at this, I highly recommend going and having a look at Sampdoria as a team to try and build, because my gosh, it's difficult when you've got players walking out. You've got older players that you try and move on and they're attached to the club. Fans aren't happy. The players get upset. It was difficult at points, but we have done it. We have rebuilt Sampdoria, restored them to the glory days. Hopefully now they can go on and continue their success. There we go then, 5 seasons of rebuilding Sampdoria. I think that's been a brilliant experiment. But if you're still watching at this point of the video, firstly, thank you very much. Secondly, if you can interact with it in any way, shape or form, whether that be a like, a comment or a subscribe, I would really appreciate that. Helps us to get the videos out to so many more people. Also keeps them relevant and keeps them in front of people. And I appreciate every single person that does that. I really do. If you want a reason to leave a comment, here's one for you. Did you know Bruno Fernandes, who plays for Manchester United, once played for Sampdoria? If you did know that, put yes or put I knew that down in the comment section, and that is your fulfillment for helping the channel. But for this one, I'm going to wrap it there. Please don't forget to come back and check out the next rebuild or one of the series. If you haven't seen any of the videos, go and check some of them out. But for this one, I'm going to finish there. I'll see you soon.